Yes. So, 52 weeks, 52 songs. Why did I do it? How did I do it? And sort of what were the results that sort of came from it? That's what I'm going to be explaining in this video. And I think from the start, I know there's going to be sort of two main groups that are going to be watching this. And I think one of them is people that are just generally curious about sort of what went on, what my processes were, what the sort of decisions I made were all about. And then I think you've got another group that are going to be watching that are sort of people involved in music that maybe want to just know about what the results were so they can sort of implement something similar for themselves further down the line. And because of that, I'm conscious of that. I don't want to waste anyone's time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave a timestamp here and a timestamp here. And what those are going to basically do is allow you to sort of skim through the video how you please. And I'm also going to leave sort of chapters in the video description and stuff. So yeah, without further ado, I'll sort of walk you through everything. Cool, so I think for the first bit, I'll sort of talk about what my thought process was going into it and sort of why I did the whole thing. Because I know sort of, I think Russ did the whole 1 week method. It wasn't necessarily from him, but I sort of learned about the idea from people talking about his sort of strategy and stuff. But I sort of did it as sort of a challenge for myself because people know me as sort of making rap beats or grime instrumentals and stuff like that. I'm used to uploading quite a few beats a week, and I don't really see many people in sort of the wider music sphere necessarily doing something similar to that. I listen to a lot of electronic music and I make a lot of electronic music, but I didn't really put it out there. And I think this sort of gave me a kick to sort of share my work in that regard. And there's a lot of things. So like, for example, I'm a practical learner. And I think I learned a lesson a few years back where I sort of stopped learning in a way. And I felt like if I just make music, I'll eventually get better, which wasn't really sort of true. I think you sort of do need to have some extra learning, if that makes sense. I was able to sort of go and find information, whether it was like videos on YouTube or like articles online and stuff like that, and read stuff. I could learn stuff in that week and apply it to something straight away. And I think that helped me a lot. So I think I've improved a lot in just generally making music, as opposed to I think if I just did it here and there and didn't release anything. I also wanted to sort of expand my catalogue a bit because I think I've started to market myself more as just like, so I've got Detonator, which is this, and then I've got Detonator instrumentals, which is sort of the rap beat sort of stuff. For this, I want it to be more of like a music project, if that made sense, and have a bit more of a catalogue. And I think having these 52 songs, I think, let's say if I release a single further down the line and it does well, it'll be good for people to sort of come back to my Spotify or Apple Music or whatever and have a sort of reference point and be like, oh, he's got more music I can check out. No matter what they think of it, I think it's just nice to have that option there, because I think we've all had experiences where we found a new artist that's made a good song, but they've only got like one or two more on their artist page of whatever platform it is. And I've always had this sort of thing with like independence in music. So I don't like the idea of like relying on anyone or relying on like a label or a manager or someone, just an engineer or something, that are like putting off having music come out. And I think with making rap music and like just in that sphere, I found that a lot where I'd send a beat off in like, I don't know, like June, and a song wouldn't come out until like the end of the year or even the year after or something like that. And I just felt a bit, I don't know, I just didn't want to really do that anymore. And I took back that sort of independence a bit, and I sort of said, I can release music now when I want, how I want, and frame it in a way that I'm happy with. And I also learned something like earlier on that year or maybe the year before. Like everyone says quality over quantity sort of thing. But I've been hearing more people say sort of like, if you produce more quantity, the quality will sort of come over time because you'll be learning from like lessons from mistakes and stuff and just improving that way. And I think that definitely helped me a lot. So I can produce more content at a higher quality as opposed to producing little content at sort of similar quality. And I think that's just a personal preference. Like everyone's not going to be the same or have the same views on that. So that's sort of like why I wanted to do it. And I think the last thing I'm going to touch on for this first bit is sort of where I want to go moving forward. The direction I want to take moving forward is definitely to carry on making a lot of electronic stuff, but I do want to bring in the other side. So probably blend it with more of what I'm traditionally used to making. And I'm still figuring out how to do that best because it is very hard to do. But I definitely think that's what I want to do. So there's going to be more music coming from me. I probably will leave the DTZ series, which is what I called it, for a short while, just so I can focus on that now quality over quantity. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about more of like how I did it and the processes behind doing it all. So over the year, I was sort of gathering ideas for like inspiration for like how I wanted the whole thing to look, because I wanted to market it as a package. I didn't want it to be sort of sporadic and look a bit disjointed. And then I spent a few months sort of creating templates for like videos, for promo, for like single like cover art and all that kind of stuff. And then after all that was done, I gave myself a 6-week sort of head start. And what I did was I had 6 songs and I made all the content from it. I just scheduled it. So I scheduled all the YouTube uploads, the Twitter uploads, Instagram posts, and all that kind of stuff. And then from when the first one went out, I started trying to do 1 song a week, and I did that for the whole year. I didn't miss a single upload last year. I don't think I was really late for an upload either. It was 9 p.m. on Saturdays. I think I set myself the challenge of, can I actually do this? How dedicated am I? But you just have to sort of turn up and get the job done, basically. Which I didn't mind. I didn't feel like a chore at any point, because I wanted to do it and I knew what I signed myself up for. Week by week, there was some weeks which were good where like I had like a little bit of a breathing room. So I had like the Saturday upload for this coming Saturday, and also next Saturday I had sort of two weeks ready. But then there was some days where it was like Friday evening, I didn't have a song for the next day, and I'd have to sort of knuckle down and get some inspiration from somewhere, and put a song together and do all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to move on and I'm going to talk about algorithms, because this was one of the reasons why I did it, but it does my head in like completely. But yeah, I think the way algorithms work, to my understanding, and I could be completely wrong with this, I'm not like an expert in any way, is like the more you post and the more interaction you get, like the more your next post is shown and you get suggested and all that kind of stuff. And now my social medias didn't have great interaction going into this. And they don't really have they don't have great interaction now. And I think, that's probably just down to my social media strategy. And I'll speak about that again. I'm not great with that whole side of things. I wanted to do weekly uploads because it gave me a reason to post. Whether that worked or not, I don't know, because I didn't pay for any advertising or anything either for this whole thing. Yeah, everything was done sort of quote unquote organically, which is what I wanted, because I wanted to get a really good reference point for everything. So before I talk about the results, I'm going to talk about the hurdles and obstacles that came in the way. One big thing which I think is probably overlooked is, especially if you're not making music at a very fast rate, is inspiration. And I think to be inspired every week for a whole year is difficult to do at times, and it was definitely difficult for me. Despite the fact that I listen to a lot of music, it's hard to sort of materialize that, if that makes sense. And I think that was something that I've come to terms with a lot better now, because I think even for my beat store, I have to still be motivated and inspired every week to like make beats for that and upload them, because I think at the moment I'm uploading 3 beats a week. I want to do more actually. I was doing 2 a week last year. So technically I was doing 3 songs a week last year. I was doing 2 beats, 1 song, and sometimes I'd even do a remix as well of like a popular song or something. So I might have done 4 uploads in a week, which sounds a lot, but I think, I don't know, you do grow accustomed to it. Another hurdle I found was I don't have the best promotion strategy. So like I said earlier, I'm not keen on social media. And I think if a lot of you know me in real life, you'll know that I'm very quiet and reserved. I'm basically the same online. And I think if I had a better strategy, maybe, I think it would help me a lot, having a better social media strategy, definitely. And then also quality is a bit of a hurdle that you're gonna come across, because it's hard to keep either improving or having the same quality every week in, week out. Now, I'm not inherently an electronic music producer. Pretty much, I couldn't make electronic music before I started this. This sort of gave me like a reason to learn more about it and get better at it at a faster rate, and also get feedback in real time. And I think that was it for hurdles and obstacles. And if there is anything that you can think of and you've done something similar, feel free to put it in the comments, because I think it's good that we all help each other out, sort of stuff like this. Especially because it's like you might put yourself under crunch time at certain points, and obviously mental health's important and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, feel free to post any comments in the comment box. Now I'm going to talk about something else. I'm going to derail it a little bit. I'm going to talk about opportunities that came from me going outside the box, if that makes sense. So I had a really good opportunity this year. So I'm talking 2022, where Wolves, the football club, I'm from Wolverhampton, me and another artist from Wolverhampton called Reaper, we basically put a song together for Wolves' new season trailer. And I think more of that actually came from me making music that wasn't rap and being considered for that because of that, as opposed to like, oh, you've got good rap beats, I'll use you. And I think that really helped because that wasn't a inherently like rap song. It was more orchestral. It had bits of EDM I used in there, but that's sort of stuff that I find that's really good from it. And I think that's why people say sort of step outside your comfort zone and take risks and all that kind of stuff, and you'll go further. Because even people that I never thought would sort of like my electronic music side, because everyone really follows me on all my platforms for rap music. Even people like DMing me and stuff saying that they like the music, and family and friends that might not listen to rap music also enjoying the electronic side. I think it's nice to sort of provide for those two demographics, but I think it's also a matter of balancing it out and stuff like that. Okie dokie, so results. Now results, mine are going to be very different to someone else who's done this, and I'll sort of go into why I think that might be. In terms of like sort of the base level results, I think learning new techniques each week and whether that be like music production, promotion, like social media strategies, marketing, or mixing and mastering, it's leveled up my knowledge of those things and my ability in those things a lot. More so than I believe if I was just doing it here and there. Every few months I was releasing a single. I think doing it at that frequency kept everything fresh in my mind and sort of tailor my whole workflow, which was really good. Okay, and then like jumping deeper into sort of the analytics behind everything. In terms of social media followers, like YouTube subscribers and monthly listeners on Spotify, they all went up to some degree, if that makes sense. The people following me and who were like sort of interacting with me were interacting with me for my rap music, not my electronic stuff. So I knew there was going to be a drop off, and there sort of was, but it built up slowly over the year. Now, obviously, I'm not an electronic music producer inherently, so I don't think the quality of my stuff warranted extra listeners and like a wider fan base, if that makes sense. But I think if you do this strategy for something that you're a lot more comfortable or established in, I think it can work really well, especially nowadays with sort of the demand for music being very high. I think there's more eyes on my music now than ears, if that makes sense. So I think more people are sort of seeing what I'm doing and taking notice of it. They might not necessarily like the music or listen to the music, but I think them knowing that I'm sort of taking that direction and doing that sort of stuff, I think that is a big positive, a net positive, I think. Because I think eventually you can sort of transform those people into listeners. I had a slight movement in numbers for my like Spotify monthly listeners and streams and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't really have much to reference that to, if that makes sense. And then social media followers, I think I've gained some people and I've lost some people. So it probably looks like I've not moved much, but I think if I went into it deeper and sort of analysed it all, I'd find that there is probably quite a handful of new people. A smart individual forgot to record the outro to the video, but if you did make it this far, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hopefully you enjoyed it, got some value out of it. If you've got any comments or if you've got any questions for me, by all means just pop them below, or if you want to give any advice to anyone as well, give that below. And also subscribe if you can as well, because that'd be good so you can keep up to date with the journey. Thank you.